Hi, I'm here with Maddie today, who graduated from the B.S.P.S program in 2018, and she currently works as a Preclinical Study Manager. She's also recently graduated with a Master's in Regulatory Affairs in Drugs, Biologics and Medical Devices from Northeastern University. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Thanks so much for putting this together, Beth.
Firstly, would you be able to explain a little bit about your current job and how you got there?
Definitely. So currently I work as a preclinical study manager at Kymera Therapeutics, which is located in Watertown, Massachusetts, so right next to Boston. And my current duties include, I work with the preclinical team to help coordinate and manage all of our preclinical studies that we don't conduct in-house. And because Kymera was recently a startup and now we're growing very quickly, there is a lot that we do outsource. So I work with the toxicology team to outsource the toxicology studies that help support our IND submissions, and then also the DMPK studies that again help to support our IND submissions. So usually what that looks like is I will reach out to the contract labs and request the studies that we want to run. I make sure that we have an SOW in place and PO so that the contract labs can get paid. And then I work with the team here at Kymera and at the contract lab to make sure that we're getting the protocol finalized on time. It has all the components that we were looking to run in the study, that the contract lab has everything they need to run the study for us, whether that's compound or any special tubes or whatever the specific study needs. And then I also serve as a point of contact throughout the study. So as the study initiates, if the contract lab has any questions, they can reach out to me and the team, and we just help to make sure that the study is going as planned. And then at the end of the study, I help the team to track our deliverables and make sure that we are getting any reports or data that we need on time.
That sounds really cool. Did you know that you wanted to do that as an undergraduate student, or how did you come across that as a job?
Definitely not. I didn't know. Actually, when I was a senior, I got an internship at a company across the street called Enanta Pharmaceuticals, where I was working in the DMPK lab. And after I graduated from URI, I was working at Enanta in the DMPK lab. So in the lab, I was analyzing blood samples for PK time point studies. So basically what that looked like is I would analyze blood samples from throughout a study and kind of measure the drug concentration in the blood sample throughout the study. So at the end of my data analysis, usually it would be a curve that you could see how the drug moved through the body, which I also thought was very interesting. But at one point, my boss at that other job approached me and asked if I would be interested in moving into a study coordination role, and I was. So that's when I started working with contract labs for DMPK studies at my old company, which I really enjoyed. And as I got further out of the lab and more into kind of study coordinating, I realized that I was more interested in the coordination aspect of the industry and wasn't as passionate about being in the lab. So
yeah, which is totally fine, and a lot of people actually have that experience where they don't particularly really enjoy being in the lab all day, but it just goes to show that there are so many places that you can go with this degree. How would you say that this BSPS program has prepared you for your current role?
Because when I graduated, I really thought that my skill set was more tailored toward a lab-based position. But as I spent more time in the industry, I realized I knew a lot about the process of what it takes to run a good study and where those results need to go, and filing with the FDA, and how biotech companies interact with the FDA. It was all stuff we learned about in undergrad. So the study coordination role was actually a really nice extension of the BSPS program.
That's really nice that you found that you were actually very prepared for your current role without thinking that you necessarily were. So, there's a lot of courses in the BSPS program, so we get a really broad range of content, and that possibly is why you felt so prepared, even though you didn't necessarily on the face of it feel like you were.
Right, definitely. I mean, I still had a lot to learn and am still learning a lot. But yeah, the BSPS program really opens so many doors into the industry, not just a lab-based position, if somebody wasn't as interested in being in the lab.
Yeah, definitely. I would totally agree with that. I would love to hear more about the master's program that you just completed. Would you be able to discuss a little bit about how you decided upon that program and what the degree involved?
Yeah, definitely. So after graduating from URI with my BSPS, I was kind of thinking about master's programs, but again, wasn't totally sure what I wanted to do. Right after graduating, I was wondering if I wanted to pursue a master's that was, more applicable to a lab-based position. But then as I moved out of the lab and into more of a coordination role, I started to really become aware of and especially in the biotechs that I have worked on, the goal is to get a drug on the market. So a part of that is the regulatory process. And especially because I have worked mostly in the preclinical space, all of the data and reports that we are generating as a team is going to support an IND submission. So that's when I mean, we learned about IND submissions and stuff in undergrad as well, but seeing that process actually in the industry is how I really started to learn about regulatory affairs and what it is and what's entailed in it. And it was actually my old boss who introduced me to the program at Northeastern, the regulatory affairs program. And as I looked into it, I realized I was really interested in all the courses that they were offering. And it seemed like a really great step for me because I was also realizing that I was wanting to pursue a more coordination role and less of a lab-based role.
Thank you. It's nice to know that you can go into a career. So, for example, you started in the lab and you still managed to change track and find something that you really enjoy. And the BSPS program prepared you for that as well. So, I know quite a lot of us are sometimes anxious about, like, are we doing the right thing? But it's nice to know that you can still pivot. There's so many master's programs out there as well if you want to go and further your skills in that area. So that's really good to hear, I think, for other students.
Definitely. And I would also say as you enter the industry, don't be afraid to, ask your boss or your mentor at work if you can try out a new task or if there's something that you're interested to go after that because, and especially with new grads, companies want you to explore the things you're interested in because, it's only going to make yourself more valuable to them as well.
Definitely. Finally, if you had some advice for maybe a sophomore or junior BSPS student, what would you say to them about maximizing the opportunities that are available to them here in the BSPS program?
So I would say to, especially early on, explore the internship opportunities and the partnerships that URI has with companies. Because the earlier that you can get involved with internships, the more you are going to be able to experience and get your hands on. And if you start doing internships, even as a freshman or sophomore and junior, you are going to get to have multiple experiences. And like I said, you may not like your first internship, and then from there you can kind of evaluate maybe what you did like about the internship, and if there's a different aspect that you wanted to explore next time. It's just going to help you understand, what you do and what you don't like.
Yeah, that seems really key. Finding out, using all the time available, even though as a freshman and a sophomore, you don't have as many interactions directly with the College of Pharmacy. You can still start building up your experiences within the program to find out what areas that you're really interested in.
Right. Definitely. And especially now with LinkedIn, you can go on and find past B.S.P.S alumni and see what they're doing and how they got there. And, a lot of places that people are working at offer summer internships. So just any networking that even you could do on your own to help yourself get an internship, or just another set of advice, or hear another story, you know.
That's really good advice. We do have a group LinkedIn
Oh, really?
page as well for, yeah, I'm pretty sure for College of Pharmacy, or it might even specifically be BSPS grads. So LinkedIn is really cool. I'm finding myself using it a lot at the moment, because not only does companies post internships on LinkedIn, but you're right, we have direct contacts. Alumni will most likely be very happy for you to reach out to them if that's something that you would be interested in doing. So building that network early on is definitely a key piece of advice.
Definitely. And even in my short time in the industry, I feel like it's a very small world. So, you know, the more that you can connect with people, the bigger your picture is going to be.
Definitely. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much.